Week 1 of the 2012 OHSAA football season is upon us, folks, and the Wildcats are ready to defend their Division I state title. But in Week 1, Greg, they will face a defending state champion in Division III. That's Youngstown Cardinal Mooney at Cleveland Brown Stadium for Game 2 of the charity game doubleheader. Hi, everybody. Alongside Greg Zeiton, I'm John Fanta. Another edition of the SIBNs Across the Table, the Week 1 preview for Youngstown Cardinal Mooney. And Greg, let's begin to talk about what you've gotten from two-a-days for the Wildcats and what you take away from the Jamboree with Cam McKinley, where the Wildcats really knocked out Cam McKinley early on the lines. Their defensive line was very powerful.
Sure, John. That's really the biggest thing we got out of two-a-days, and especially the Jamboree with McKinley, is that defense looks awfully good for the Wildcats. That was, of course, really the backbone of the team last year, and it looks like that's going to continue from what we've seen. The defensive line was tremendous. They got all kinds of pressure against McKinley. The linebackers, 3 new ones, but they looked solid. The secondary made plays whenever the Bulldogs decided to pass. The defense was outstanding.
And when you look at the Wildcats offensively, their offensive line certainly did a solid job with pass protection for Mike LaManna. He had a couple very nice drives, including one where he was head-on with Rocky Zingali and forming combinations with his other receivers. But you saw the line also have some struggles with run blocking and Tim McVeigh. He broke one loose, but let's talk about the offensive line and this offense's production.
Well, sure. As far as the Wildcats' passing game goes, we saw a couple things that we don't normally see a lot from the Wildcats. They ran a kind of hurry-up offense with a lot of short passes. We've seen it before, but not a ton, where they rush to the line of scrimmage and then use quick passes. The offensive line in that was fine. LaManna was able to get in a good rhythm and really spread the ball around to a lot of different receivers. Connor Hennessy got in the act, Rocky Zingali, a couple other guys. And, the passing looked good. The running game, like you said, they were able to get Tim McVeigh a hole here and there, but for the most part, when Tim McVeigh got the ball, he's staring at defensive linemen and linebackers all around him and just didn't have anywhere to go.
We saw junior Jack Hyland get into the action. Mike Siragusa will be back this week for the Wildcats, as well as Nick Novak, who showed some strong strides as well. It was good to see a guy like Zingali, though, who had some playing time last year, but when you're behind Mooney and McCoy being in 2011, Rocky didn't get a ton of chances, and on Friday night he did light up the field. Right through the middle of the field, was able to make some very nice receptions, and I thought offensively the Wildcats moved the ball well. Let's move to the Wildcats' defense again, and let's talk about this linebacking core. You were very impressed with C.J. Haig.
That I was. C.J. taking over for basically Mike Svatina's rover spot in that defense, some linebacker as well. They'll use him in a variety of spots, but C.J. really was a ball hawk. He did whatever really the coaches asked him to. He was making plays in the secondary, and when they sent him on the blitz, he was able to put pressure on the quarterback or track down running backs.
The combination of Berger, Chapik, and then Haig, along with Damian Willis, who is into the mix, who also impressed many, as he is an absolute pounder when he slashes through the hole at fullback, and then, as a backer, he pummels right through any gap you leave him, so he also lit it up.
Yeah, if you watched any of the JV games last year or listened to any, you've heard Kyle Berger's name, and you're going to hear it more this year. He promises to be a stud on the linebacking core, along with those other guys you mentioned, Chapik and Willis as well at linebacker, and some other guys that'll get worked in.
So the Wildcats now get ready to take on Youngstown Cardinal Mooney Saturday night, 7 o'clock at Cleveland Brown Stadium. And let's talk about Cardinal Mooney, and this is a smash-mouth football team. So they are going to come out and have one attitude, and that is to try to hammer it up the middle and try to plunge through your defensive line. But like I've said before, Greg, I don't think that they've met Dave Katusha, Kevin Kavalek, and Matt Golick. It's certainly going to be tough for them.
That it is, John, and really when you look at Mooney's offense, they may line up in a couple different formations. You'll see them in the shotgun, the pistol, the eye, whatever it is. They're going to be running the football. They pass very, very infrequently, but they do run in a variety of ways for the Wildcats. It's really going to be about maintaining your gaps and penetration for that defensive line, which I don't think should be too much of a problem.
The Wildcat offense now, on the other hand, will try to improve upon run blocking because Youngstown Cardinal Mooney, the reason that they were the state champion last season, and the reason why this team continues to bring back a good program is their defense and how aggressive it can be to fly into the football. So what do you expect from Mike LaManna here in his development early on in the season? The Wildcats tried a couple long balls, that touchdown pass to Connor Hennessy in the Jamboree that set the tone for the Wildcats against the Bulldogs. What do you expect from LaManna?
Well, what we saw in McKinley with that short passing game and the hurry-up offense, I'd expect to see a fair amount of that to try and keep the Cardinals off balance and try and get them a little bit tired. But I'm sure LaManna will take some chances against, a secondary in Mooney. When you think about it, as much as they run, they don't get a whole lot of practice against a good passing offense. So the Wildcats will certainly have opportunities to take shots down the field with a Saragusa or a Hennessy or a Zingali, or you could go on with this receiving core. But the Wildcats really have a lot of options, but look for that short, quick passing game with some long balls mixed in.
Well, and this is what the Cardinals in two-a-days, of course, they're going against each other, and sometimes the first-teamers match up together. But, Greg, with the way that Youngstown Cardinal Mooney runs their offense, this is primarily, obviously, a run-oriented offense. They will go into the shotgun, but normally it's more of a wishbone and into the pistol a lot. So it's not something that this Youngstown Cardinal Mooney defense sees a lot in the passing game. The Wildcats brought that Friday night against Cam McKinley, and Greg, I have a feeling if they're able to catch Mooney off guard, they could put a lot of points on the board Saturday night.
That they could. Glenville, when they scrimmaged Cardinal Mooney, tried a lot of those quick, short passes, and we know the speed and athleticism Glenville has at their receivers, and they had quite a bit of success with that, so look for the Wildcats to try and do something similar.
Should be very interesting going on at Lakewood Stadium Saturday night. Glenville and St. Edward, they meet in a Week 1 matchup as well. The 2 o'clock game from Cleveland Browns Stadium. Before ours at 7 p.m. will be North Royalton and Brecksville Broadview Heights renewing their annual rivalry. So a lot of high school football this weekend and a lot of excitement. It's good to be back, and we hope to have updates on that game going on at Lakewood Stadium because Glenville looked very solid against Youngstown Cardinal Mooney, and it's down the road, but it's interesting to note that the Tar-Blooders do have much athleticism as they always have, but also some size to bring as well.
Sure, and I think when you look at that game, that's one that a lot of Wildcat fans, and us at least, I've overlooked as well. Glenville had a bit of a down year last year, but they look to be the Glenville that we're used to seeing.
Should be very exciting. High school football back, Greg, and the gridiron, we're right back at it and excited for another run.
Doesn't get much better than this.
So we will see you Saturday night, 6:30. We will begin with the Prudential Lucian Realty pregame show, and then all the action comes to you live at 7 p.m. Also, a special halftime guest and the new principal of St. Ignatius High School, Mr. Dan Bradesca. That's all this Saturday night on the SIBN.